On the point of corruption, the problem is that it makes good governments bad and bad governments worse. And how does that happen? It boils down to incentives. It doesn't matter where you are on this earth. If you live in New York or in London or in anywhere in Africa, we're all driven by incentives. Governments are incentivized, as are individuals and our societies as a whole. The problem with aid, which is essentially giving free money to somebody with no recourse, means that the incentive structure, it introduces a very negative incentive structure. You can steal that money and have no recourse. You can use that money for non-productive activities and there's no penalty. There's no punishment. You don't lose office. You don't end up in jail. And because of that, what in economics there's a rent without, you cannot have rent seeking, which is the economic term for corruption or graft. You cannot have rent seeking without a rent. And unfortunately, aid provides that rent in the context of many African countries. And it's a very easy thing to steal.
Germany was a recipient of aid after the Second World War. So was Japan. So was South Korea. So was Malaysia. Or even famous Singapore. They all received aid. But there's something special about them, which is they all, without exception, graduated from being aid recipients within 20 years. By the time those 20 years were over, they were actually giving aid to other people. But Africa, 60 years later, Africans are negotiating on a global stage the next form of aid they think they want to be getting. Why is it that we are not able to graduate from aid? In the past, we used to blame colonialists. But today, the threat to African economies or destruction of African economies by Africans, the sabotage of our own economies by Africans is on the rise. And I think that we cannot keep making the same mistakes and expecting different outcomes or better results. We need to get our act together. I think it's possible for Africa to rise, but it won't do so until we get organized.
Good morning, Africans. I hope you're doing fine where you are, and if you're not doing fine, please do fine where you are. At the moment, I'm at the village, and I'm really loving the village because everything here is close to free. Everything is almost free. You don't pay rent, you don't buy unnecessary food, you eat fresh food, you don't eat GMO, fresh. Everything is fresh. Even the birds outside, they're singing and they're enjoying. Okay, you are in the village, this and that. So in short, I'm just excited. And I have this news for you, black people. I have this news for you. It is that we've relied so much on Western aid in a way that the West has found a way to attach their unnecessary wantings to Africa with the aid. You see? There's this saying which goes, no strings attached or strings attached. When you hear someone saying, I give you, but with no strings attached, they mean that they don't have a hidden agenda outside their generosity. But with aid that we get in Africa, that generosity comes with a very heavy price. Most often, this price is way more than the generosity they offer. You see, in Africa we have the USAID, the UK aid. You understand? The UK aid is aid from the UK. The US aid is aid from the United States of America. And these aid, they help people, yes. But even if they help people, how much is it that they are really helpful to the Africans? Are the Africans really helpful? Do they get value for what they see? You know? In Africa, we've had Bill Gates go to Nigeria. Bill Gates come to Kenyan villages. He loves Kenya. If there's a country that makes Bill Gates happy, it's Kenya. So he's come to this country, and what he does is that he brings mobile phones to farmers. He gives them these mobile phones, and he tells the farmers, take these mobile phones, they'll help you do this and that. The idea is this. Bill Gates is very smart. There's a chip inside this phone, and Bill Gates is able to trace how these doctors are able to buy their things everywhere they go, where they buy their seeds and their movement. So he's able to trace them. And after this, he gives them seed and he sees how these seeds perform. Okay, it's very complex. I can't explain the whole of it, how it goes. The idea is that he gives you a phone and he tracks you with that phone, and then he tracks you down because at the end, by the end of the day, he wants you to go to his shop and buy GMO products. So he gives you a phone so that you can make him a millionaire, not outside generosity. And also we've had this aid where white people come here to Africa and they really do bad things in the name of giving aid. You've heard of all that news. And so in this video, a woman is able to explain, in the video I'm about to show you, of course, a woman is able to explain how aid is able to destroy Africans, how aid is being used to manipulate Africans into poverty. Actually, this aid is bringing Africans more into poverty than it is removing us out of poverty. So without further ado, I want us to jump into this video. Watch it. By the end of the video, I shall share with you my thoughts, where we shall also have a deep, critical analysis. Let's dive in.
So, humanitarian aid, when it is well put, no problem. The other form of aid is what we call foreign aid. So let's say the US sends money to my government so that they can use it to supposedly grow their government. Well, there we have a huge problem. And for that, I will tell you only one thing. Make sure you get your hands on a movie called Poverty, Inc., because there is such a thing as the aid industry. Now think about it. Hundreds of thousands of people in the world, especially from the developed countries, who basically are living on the trillions and trillions of dollars spent on aid every year. So the way it goes is, Carmen, you're from the US, and the US sends money to, I'm the government of Senegal. So your country sends me money, you send me money. So what I do is, what's your name? Jerry? Jerry. So, sorry. So you send me money, and Jerry right there is a consultant for you from USAID. Let's just use them. USAID, right? Or like some consultants who work in the aid thing. They're going to come and they're going to teach me how to fish or how to catch a fish, all of these things, because you know what? I'm so stupid, I didn't know how to catch a fish. I had to wait for her to come and tell me. There you see how patronizing that is, first of all, by the way. Do you guys think that works? But that's what has been going on forever. Now, why do you think that something like that doesn't work for me? Because two things. Not only you're teaching my people to become dependent and to wait and to have this mentality of handouts, but at the same time, you are making sure that me, as the head of a country, I'm not interested in my people getting better. Because guess what? If my people get better and they start to be independent, that money that I'm able to put in my pocket, do you think I still can put it in my pocket? No, because you stop sending it, we don't need it anymore. But what the problem is when so many of you in this country advocate for that, I see every day people having petitions for more foreign aid being given to the Africans as a way to help them. Every single time you do that, you're delaying, forcing my leader to make doing business easier. Because if that happens, then eventually more people have jobs, less needs, less aid money coming in. I can't line my pocket anymore as a leader. Another way you guys are hurting me from here. Who here has thumb shoes? Or bought thumb shoes? Or loves thumb shoes? Raise your hand and raise them high, please. 3 people. Why do you guys buy those shoes? What do you love the most about thumb shoes? When you buy a pair of thumb shoes, another one gets sent to an African child, and you feel good, don't you? Like I said, I was there before too. Except that stuff is some of the most toxic thing you can do for me. Let me walk you through. So first, thumb shoes was making their shoes in China. Nothing wrong with that. Making their shoes in China, selling them to you, and saying, you buy 1 pair, I send a pair to a poor kid somewhere in Africa. That sounds awfully nice, isn't it? And they say that's what's going to alleviate poverty. That's what's going to end poverty. That's another thing that they tell you. How exactly that having shoes is going to end poverty? When we talked about what we talked about, how exactly is having shoes going to make doing business better or going to create more entrepreneurs? If you guys find a link, you come talk to me. If you find a link between only giving someone shoes and creating entrepreneurs who are going to create jobs, if you get that process, tell me. Now, you buy these shoes, Tom shoes collects the other pairs, it's all going into a fancy truck is going to be flown somewhere. I mean, the container is going to be flown somewhere. And let's say today it comes to my country. Oh, it's happening. It's coming to Senegal. Let me give you a really a good example here. Senegal. Turns out where we're going to be establishing our plant is in this village that's very known for really amazing, beautiful craftsmanship when it comes to shoemaking. I mean, these guys, they make you custom shoes. Anything you want, you can pick your colors, the leather, anything you want, your exact size, shape of your foot. It's beautiful. They've been doing it for decades now. It's from family to family to family, and they're hiring more people in this and creating more jobs. Now imagine, today, the truck comes. Yay, we're Tom's Shoes, all of these free shoes. Put yourself in the shoes of that shoemaker. The truck arrives in the damn village, and all of these shoes are given away for free. Do you think the people who are getting the shoes for free are going to go buy now shoes? They don't buy shoes. That happens once. Truck comes. Maybe the first time people are like, oh, maybe it was just one time, you know. In the meantime, I need shoes, I'm going to go buy shoes. But then the second time again, the truck comes. Now people are really thinking this is real business. It's going to be on forever. And by that time, you, the shoemaker, you give up. Because now you think this truck is going to come all the time. This is it. Who can compete against free? No one. And at the same time, by the way, you just taught, Tom's Shoes, I just taught all the little kids, but you don't pay for things. You get them for free from the white people. See there? Me, black kid, I get free stuff from the white man. That's how the world works. But guess what? Third time, no truck. Because by that time, the Tom's Shoes and the little cheerleaders were now in Guatemala somewhere. They forgot about me in Africa in that village. But it's too late. It's too late because you gave up. You closed your company. You fired 100 people. Done. And they're doing the same thing in Guatemala, and the next time again over there. So people like me have been complaining, and the only thing that Tom did is like, oh, okay, we get it. So we're going to build a factory in Haiti, where, by the way, they're suffering so much, they need jobs. That's great. Except it's not changing the business model. He's still destroying companies and jobs all over the world. So what has to go is that buy one, give one model, doesn't it? But buy one, give one model is fundamentally flawed. It is unsustainable. The only person who benefits from that is Tom's. That's it. And maybe that one kid who, for those, maybe 1 year in his life or her life, has shoes that probably are going to be ripped within a week, by the way. You feel good. Tom's feel good. We're all having a freaking party here in the USA. We are saving the Africans, and that's great. You keep thinking you're superior to me because you help me. And I keep thinking I'm inferior to you because you help me. You see there how we're continuing to be part of a problem that has been gone forever. Now, compare that to another company. In this situation, I'll use mine because I know it best. I have this skincare company, for example, where it's all inspired by the traditional and ancient wisdom of the traditional healers of my country. You see, we know that in this country, women use most of the beauty products you guys use, turn it around, full of chemicals that are really no good for you. And don't even get me started, especially when you're starting and you're 14, 15, 16, 17, and you're starting to mess with your body with all of these chemicals that are going to start messing with your endocrine and your hormones and the way they work or don't work. Well, where I come from, we have amazing recipes that you keep really nice, clean, clear skin with none of that crap. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of knowledge. For now, the products, we're buying the ingredients from Africa, which is good because that's creating jobs there because the suppliers we buy it from create this, they can keep those jobs going. But guess what? Next, we're going and we're going to do a crowdfunding where we move production to Africa. At that point, what happens is the jobs are created there. Now, when you buy a product like that, imagine the difference between buying a product like Tom's. Because I am not destroying any job anywhere. And because also I am bringing back here things that come from my tradition, I am also teaching you something new. I am teaching you that I'm not just this clueless, pathetic little African that has nothing to contribute to the world. I'm bringing to you really good stuff that's going to help you with your skin. So you see how there are even your reverse mentalities. And this is why in the fall, our campaign is going to be something along the lines, instead of buy one, give one, we are all about buy one and bust a myth. in this situation, bust a myth that Africans have nothing to contribute. Bust a myth with, there's no beauty coming out of Africa. I hear people telling me that. I have had people, very well-intentioned people, telling me, I'm so glad I got to know you, because before you, I never equated Africa with beauty or beauty products. It sounds racist, but this is true. And this is a challenge that I face. But it's okay. That's why we call it buy one, bust a myth. Every time you buy one of our products, you're sending the strong signal to your friend, to the world, and to me. Oh no, my God. I am not one of those idiots who think poverty is just about giving you shoes. I have understood that, you Africans have things to contribute to the world. You are my equal. You are giving me wonderful stuff. You're making these great products for me. I'm going to buy it from you, and I'm sending you the ultimate message of, I am on your camp. I'm working with you, and you're no different than me. But
now, Africans, you've just listened, you've just heard that the sister has really explained how aid operates. Aid is not here to bring aid. Aid is here to make Africans poor. Actually, aid is aids for the African economy. Aid is aids for the African economy. It's a disease for the African economy, because what it does, it rips us of our benefits. How do you think the Napoleon brought himself to Congo, even though it's like 100 years since he did what he did to the Africans in Congo? He killed nearly 10 million Africans, documented. How do you think the white people came to Africa, in Kenya, in South Africa? It's because they came in the name of bringing aid. I'm not saying everything with aid is bad, but most of the aid, they have something attached to them. Most of the aid are here to manipulate Africans. Most of the aid we receive as black people are here to plunge us into the infinite hole of economic struggles. Because come to think of it, if we are poor, we make those people rich. Because we are poor, because we are not making use of our resources. Our resources are made use by those organizations. Take Niger, for instance. Niger had uranium. It still has uranium. Burkina Faso has raw materials. Mali had raw materials. Congo had raw materials. South Africa, name it all. Libya had oil. What happened over there? In the name of aid, in the name of liberating the people, which is also a form of aid, these people are trying to tap their hands into these natural resources and to make the people against their own governments. They were creating a form of anarchy. Anarchy is whereby people are against government. People want to live lawlessness. You understand? They want to live without a government. They just want to live like that. And if you come to dissect it, most of these aid that we get, most of them are not even if they are food, they are not food which are really, really helpful. They are food which are genetically modified. Remember the thing with Bill Gates? I did a video like 2-3 months ago where I explained through another video that Bill Gates was using Africans as his guinea pigs. He comes to Africa because he has tested a product in the United States of America. The laws of the US does not allow him to test those on their population. He comes to Africa, tries it on Africans, and then when he sees the test has some errors, he goes back, modifies it, brings it back, and if he finds that, okay, it's now working, he sells it to Africans and now to the rest of the world. Aid is AIDS. And aid is AIDS for the African economy. Aid is a disease to the African economy. It's high time Africans learn to develop by own self. Africans learn to seek through our own self. We can trade with our neighbor Uganda. We can trade with our neighbor Tanzania. We can trade with our neighbor Somalia. We can trade with our neighbor South Sudan. We don't need those aids which will bring, by the end of the day, bad energy, bad vibes, bad everything. Energy and vibes, no. Poverty, let me call it what it is. Poverty and diseases is what this aid will bring in the long run. And I'm so glad that people are getting awareness. Through such videos, people are able to get awareness. Now next time someone wants to bring you aid, ask yourself, what is their motive? Because in everything that a man does, he does it for two reasons. For a good reason and for the real reason. A good reason is aid, but what is the real reason? Ask yourself, you have the answers. Read between the lines. This is EFK Original Documentaries. If you love my content, you know what to do. Subscribe, support us, do some donations on Patreon, super things. All this helps us bring you informative content to black people as a whole. I hope you find value, and if you do, again, subscribe. See you in the next one.